Welcome back to the Multifamily Marketers Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Grillo, co-founder here at Resident 360. And I'm joined by Miss Caroline Mills, currently sitting in her new place in Florida. Caroline, how was that trek down south?
I am. Wow, it was a trek. I mean, I would say it's about 10, 11 hours of driving. We thankfully broke it up over the course of a couple days. We had family along the way. But it is a trek. My weather has shifted. You guys always hear about me talking about how chilly it's been in North Carolina. We are well into our 90s now. So I think pretty much going forward, it's, low of 75, high of 95.
And how was it traveling with the pooch in the car?
Oh, he was a very good boy. He was very good. He honestly slept the whole way. I was like, honestly, he had the best trip out of all of this. I made him like this huge lay down bed in the back seat. He had the entire back seat. He could walk around, do whatever he wanted. He had blankets. He was set. He did really good though.
Your dog is big, right? Isn't it a pretty big dog?
He is.
It's a golden.
Yeah. He's
poo.
around 65 pounds.
What kind of dog is it?
Yeah.
Golden poo. Is that what it's called?
A golden doodle. Yeah.
Doodle, that's it.
Yeah.
Like golden poo. Golden.
He's
doodle.
a big boy. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you guys made it safe and sound, and everything is rocking. I know you're feeling the heat down there in Florida right now. So,
yes, we'll take it over our chilly 40 degrees. So I can't be mad at it. And we have a beautiful pool and palm trees. It's worth it.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. So today we're talking about something that honestly, it kind of feels a little controversial, but also very real. And that is, are apartment websites getting worse? I mean, Caroline, are they getting worse?
This is an interesting one because I'm going to say I genuinely think some of them are. And while somebody would say, technology is advancing, AI is advancing, we're going to kind of dive into why that could make it worse or why people are using it the wrong way that's making it worse. So we're, seeing super polished websites and some luxury branding, things like that. But then when you actually try to use these websites, it's virtually impossible.
So yeah, I think that's kind of the case. A lot of times they visually look better, but from the renter experience and the marketing perspective, maybe not.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll kind of dive into how this affects different things, but I think everyone thinks you want it to look great and that's what sells it, but not necessarily.
And, if you're a renter, you really just looking for answers quickly, right? Pricing, availability, floor plans, pet policy, location, amenities. But sometimes you got to click through 5 different sections just to find basic information, including the phone number in some cases.
Yes, absolutely. We've kind of talked about our pop-up overload and things like that too, and AI chatbots, and it truly does affect the renter's experience and what they're looking for, and you could be losing leases from it.
All right, so we've roasted apartment websites a little bit, but let's flip it the other direction. What actually makes a great apartment website today, would you say?
Yeah, so honestly, the best ones are usually going to be pretty simple. When I say that, I don't mean they lack creative aspects, but they feel simple, they're intuitive, they're easy to navigate. So you never want the renter to feel overwhelmed. A good website should really answer questions quickly, and they should guide someone naturally through the process of scheduling a tour or contacting the property.
What would you say are the absolute must-haves?
Must-haves for me would be that every strong apartment website will have clear floor plans, transparent pricing, updated availability, really strong photography. You want easy to find, we call them CTAs or contact options, a simple tour scheduling process. You definitely want to be mobile-friendly design first, and a fast load speed. Honestly, that alone will just put you ahead of a lot of other websites that visually, you think look better.
Well, I do think one mistake we see is a lot of websites trying to put everything on the homepage. And a lot of times everything is on the homepage, but when you go to the internal pages, there's nothing on those pages.
Yes, all the time. I mean, not every piece of information needs to hit the renter immediately. You really want the homepage to do a couple of things. You want to establish the brand, the lifestyle there. You want to help renters understand the property very quickly within a matter of a few seconds. And then you just want to guide them towards the next action. That's really it.
So not 12 pop-up banners and 6 sliders?
Please no, please not. Sometimes less can actually mean more for these conversions and getting them to come to your property.
Well, what would you say renters actually care about most when they land on a property website?
Yeah, I can speak, very clearly to this as just going through this, but you really want your practical information first. So I think a lot of times marketers may assume that you want like this really big, this huge luxury experience. You want it to be just super luxe and super fancy. But most people are immediately looking for things like price, the kinds of floor plans offered, the location. Do you allow pets, pet information, some amenities, some availability details, and probably just some specials? I mean, you want to be able to decide quickly when you're quickly going through, 20, 30 different apartment websites. You want to know what you're looking for.
Well, I feel like the floor plans page is probably one of the most important pages on the website.
100%. Yeah. Floor plans page is huge for both your SEO and your paid ads. So, if someone's searching 2-bedroom apartments in like Nona and they instead land on a generic homepage instead of a dedicated 2-bedroom page, you could have conversion rates drop. The person could just bounce. There could be a lot of losses there.
I think that makes total sense.
And that's really where you want to support the marketing strategy. So you don't want the website to just look good. You do want it to be creative and eye-catching, but it should actually really help convert traffic. So you want this traffic to be coming from your Google ads, your SEO, your social media, really just everything needs to be able to convert when it gets to the website.
Okay, now I want to get into the paid ad side because I know this is something you talk a lot about being the digital marketing manager here at Resident 360. But how much does website speed actually matter for Google Ads?
Matters a lot. And honestly, I think a lot of people will underestimate how much a slow website can hurt, not only, people on the website, but your campaign performance. So Google's going to look at a landing page experience as part of your quality score. So if your site is slow or it's hard to use, it can actually make your ads more expensive, which I don't think a lot of people realize.
So your website can literally increase your ad costs. That's what you're saying?
Yep. Yeah, you could have an amazing targeting and ad copy. But the landing page experience is so poor. Google will see that and it does understand that. So, and then from the renter side, people are impatient now. I think we've all been through that before, especially on mobile. If something takes 5 to 6 seconds to load, I would say think about it next time you're doing it. You're looking for somewhere to eat, you're searching a product. If something takes more than a few seconds, you get frustrated. You're going to hit refresh. You're going to go back. You are not going to stay there and complete the action that you were originally going to do. Same with renters.
Yeah, especially if they clicked on an ad, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're maybe paying, maybe $8, $10, sometimes even $15 could be. On the high end, a click in some markets. And then the website takes forever to load because, say, there's giant videos, there's autoplay animations, there's chatbot softwares. You've got multiple tracking scripts on there, and then you've got huge images. So now you've just wasted that ad spend because the person got frustrated and they left, even though they costed you a lot of money to click on the ad.
Yeah, I feel like marketers blame ads first when the conversions drop, right?
That's often what we hear. And oftentimes, like the ads can be fine. It really could be the website is the problem driving that up.
All right, so let's talk about the chatbot situation right now because we know almost every property website has some sort of chatbot in the corner.
Yes, absolutely. And it just feels like they can take up so much space on your screen. They're jumping out at you, they're putting extra things forward. So when you land on a homepage and suddenly the chatbot pops up and schedule a tour pops up, and then there's a cookie notice, now there's a text opt-in, and then there's a promo banner. And then meanwhile, you're the renter, you don't even know if they have the right floor plan you're looking for. You haven't seen a single floor plan image yet, and you've been attacked by 6 different things.
Oh, yeah, and it's almost like 6 people are trying to lease you an apartment simultaneously, right? With all the chatbots
Yeah, exactly.
and privacy policies.
Exactly. And we're not anti-chatbot. I think AI leasing assistants can definitely be helpful, but if they're implemented correctly. Some websites have just become too aggressive that it can honestly create you more stress instead of helping the renter experience.
Okay, so let's talk about conversion mistakes. What are some of the biggest conversion mistakes apartment websites make?
One would honestly be just hiding information, and that may not be intentional, but if someone clicks on an ad for a 2-bedroom apartment, they should immediately be able to see the floor plan, see pricing, see the availability, see the different layout options, and then you want them to take action, whether that's scheduling a tour, applying for it, whatever it may be. But instead, some websites really make the hunters hunt for everything. They've got to click all these different things and go into this place. And now they click this place. Then they have to put a date in. And instead, that's just very frustrating for them.
Yeah, or they force you into a guest card before showing you price.
Yes. And people hate that. I think we all do. We all go to like a news article or we go somewhere, we want to click and see something. And instead, or how many times, when you're going and looking online, it's like free trial. And then you go there and it's making you put in all this information before you can use it. So people definitely want transparency. I think a few other big mistakes I often see is making confusing navigation, not knowing how to get around the website. Unclear call to actions. We've actually talked about that before. I think one we touched on was, maybe a new dev is there and one of the buttons say contact us, but another one says VIP list. And then another one says schedule with us today. And you don't know what you're doing and it becomes too confusing. So this is where I say the best performing websites can usually be, some of the simplest ones.
Okay, Caroline, rapid fire time. What are things apartment websites need to stop?
Ooh, okay. Easy. I'm going to say autoplay videos with sound. I've talked about this before. Hate them. Hidden pricing, definitely a no-no. Massive pop-up overloads. Tiny text on mobile is one I've seen recently. Some broken floor plans, slow loading galleries, generic stock photos. And then I think one we've touched on a lot is, making users click the screen 5 times for availability or chatbots covering the screen. But that would be my top ones.
Yeah, the hidden pricing things drives people.
It really does. Transparency is truly going to convert better now than not.
All right, so let's talk about the ideal website experience. Can you explain a little bit about?
Yeah, and ideally, this would be that you get to the website, the page loads quickly, it matches exactly what they're searching for. If they search for 2 bedrooms, they're getting sent to floor plans. They immediately see relevant information for what they're looking for. There's a strong visual connection, meaning it can look good, but you definitely want it to reflect the lifestyle, want it to be reflecting what the renter is looking for. And they can easily explore the floor plans. And then the calls to action, the CTAs, should be obvious without being too aggressive. We don't want it to keep popping up, but we don't want it to be too aggressive.
All right, so what CTAs?
Simple ones that we would usually recommend and work best is schedule a tour, check availability, view floor plans, and apply now. You don't want anything overly complicated.
So basically, the best apartments websites aren't necessarily the flashiest. So if you had one piece of advice for multifamily marketers working on website redesigns right now, what would it be?
Honestly, just design for the renter first. Put that prospect hat on, not for trends, no flashy animations. You don't want what looks impressive just in a presentation. You really want to focus on that speed, clarity, usability, and, make it easy for people to convert.
Honestly, I think that's the perfect takeaway. Your website should help leasing, not create obstacles.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Perfect. Well, we'll wrap up this one. Caroline, thank you as always. We will see everybody next week with a new topic on the Multifamily Marketers Podcast.
Thank you, guys. Bye.